Good morning, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. I got a request to talk a little bit more about the tablet weaving that I showed in a recent video. This is a pattern called Leaves and Vines I found from the most excellent Eloisa Finchingfield. I will link to her channel down below. This is my very first foray into tablet weaving. Here you can see the inkle loom all warped up with the cotton warp yarn and the cards. Tablet weaving is a warp-faced weaving. Therefore, the color combinations you use in the warp will determine the pattern. Now, I may be an experienced weaver, but as I said, tablet weaving is new to me. The tablets or cards can be made out of paper, like these inexpensive ones that I purchased, or they can be made out of wood, horn, or bone. Because this is my first tablet weaving, you can see the selvage edge is a little rough, but I still am very happy with how it's turning out. You can use a backstrap loom for this kind of weaving, but I am using an inkle loom that belongs to my eldest daughter. The warp basically gets used up as the piece grows. You can see the knots here at the beginning versus where I am now. They move around the loom until you run out of space, and then your weaving is done. Most folks prefer to use their inkle loom on a tabletop with a towel or non-slip surface underneath. I'm tall, and I find the most comfortable way is to sit on the floor and hook my feet on the pegs. That keeps it from sliding around, and it makes for very comfortable weaving. I also like to snag my laptop and listen to a podcast or perhaps watch something on YouTube while I weave. For tablet weaving, I have 4 threads through each tablet, and how I rotate the cards determines which thread is facing up, and that makes the pattern. For this, I picked a super simple pattern. All of the cards rotate together 1/4 turn away from me for each pick. Here you can see I'm actually just using a smaller shuttle from my large jack loom for this, and it doesn't really matter what color yarn I use. I picked the same color as the selvage edge. I'm using a heavy-duty 8/4 cotton warp yarn. That yarn can handle all of the tugging and pulling and tension of the loom. The shuttle with my green weft yarn on it is passing through a little triangle called the shed. You can see the weft yarn from the previous pass hanging out here in the shed. And now I'm going to turn the cards 1/4 turn away from me. And then I'm going to take my shuttle and pass it through the shed. I want to push down and make sure I have really good, nice tension so the pattern really pops. I'm going to pull the weft yarn from the previous pass, and then I'm going to pull my shuttle through. I leave a loop behind, and I will explain about that more in a minute. I turn my cards 1/4 turn. I'm going to go ahead and pass the shuttle back the other way through, pushing down so it's nice and tight. Pull that loop through from my last pick, and then pull the shuttle, leaving a fresh loop behind. Here you can see that loop being left behind again. This is a safety so that I don't throw my shuttle too hard and have too much tension, because that causes the edge of the weaving to pull in and kind of pucker. And so this way I am making sure that I don't pull my edges too tight. Now, because this is a beginner pattern, I picked one where all of the cards rotate together 1/4 turn away from me each pick. That's it. That's all I have to remember. And so it becomes a very meditative process. I can almost zone out as I'm working. I find that very soothing and comforting. And there are far more complicated patterns that I hope to dive into in the future. But much like how when I'm knitting a hat or a simple pair of socks, I can kind of zone out and just let my hands engage with the work, there are also far more complicated color work, lace work, bead work, knitting patterns I do that take really intense concentration. And I think some of those more complicated weavings are going to be that way. One of the things I enjoy about handcrafts is that you have the option to do really simple meditative ones, or ones that take a tremendous amount of focus and engagement. And I get something different out of the craft, out of the project, depending on what type it is. I think this pattern is absolutely beautiful, but one of the downsides of it is that because I'm turning the cards the same direction every pick, the twist builds up. And I have to go and untie all those knots that I made at the beginning and work out the twist and retie them. So this pattern was a little bit time consuming, if not complex. Thank you for watching today. I appreciate all of the support from my patrons and my viewers as I've been going through a really difficult time lately. I'll be back with more from my permaculture garden and more on sustainable living in our homes and out in our gardens as well. Thanks so much.